What if I told you that every single one of your flaws, your anxiety, your laziness, your short temper, is secretly on your side? That sounds crazy, right? We spend our lives trying to fix our defects, to sand down the rough edges of our personalities. But what if you're fighting the wrong battle? What if those very flaws you despise are actually misunderstood protectors, serving a hidden purpose you've never considered? Stay with me, because we're about to reframe everything you thought you knew about your weaknesses. Point 1. The anxious overachiever. Your anxiety isn't a bug, it's a feature. Let's start with a classic, anxiety. That knot in your stomach before a presentation, the racing thoughts at 3 a.m. about a deadline. We see it as a malfunction. But from a psychological perspective, anxiety is a powerful, ancient motivator. It's your brain's built-in alarm system, designed to jolt you into action when faced with a perceived threat. Think about our ancestors. The one who wasn't anxious about the rustling in the bushes, he became lunch. The one who was, he prepared, he stayed vigilant, he survived. That same wiring exists in you today. The threats have evolved from predators to performance reviews, but the underlying mechanism is the same, to prompt you to prepare and act. Consider Maria, a project manager. She's known for being a bit of a worrier. She triple-checks every detail, runs through every possible worst-case scenario, and prepares backup plans for her backup plans. Her colleagues might see her as anxious, but her boss sees her as the most reliable person on the team. Her anxiety fuels thoroughness. It ensures excellence. This phenomenon is beautifully illustrated by something called the Yerkes-Dodson law. First developed by psychologists Robert Yerkes and John Dodson, it shows that performance increases with arousal or stress, but only up to a point. Too little stress, and you're bored and unmotivated. Too much, and you're overwhelmed. But a moderate, optimal level of anxiety can push you into a state of peak performance, helping you focus and remember information. So, that anxiety you feel before a big exam, it's not just noise. It's your mind priming your body for success, making you study harder and stay focused. Your anxiety isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal that you care, and it's providing the fuel to do something about it. The flaw isn't the anxiety itself, but our failure to recognize it as a call to preparation. Point 2. The procrastinating protector, delay as a defense mechanism. Now, let's talk about the master of avoidance, procrastination. It's often labeled as laziness, a simple failure of willpower, but psychology offers a much more compassionate explanation. Procrastination is frequently a defense mechanism against a deeper fear. What fear? Often, it's the fear of failure, or even the fear of success. Meet David, a talented graphic designer. He has a major portfolio review in a month, but instead of working on it, he's deep cleaning his apartment, organizing his spice rack, and suddenly becoming an expert on 18th century pottery. He's not lazy. He's terrified. By putting off the project, he's unconsciously protecting his self-esteem. If he rushes to finish it at the last minute and the result isn't perfect, he has a built-in excuse. I just didn't have enough time. This way, the potential failure isn't a reflection of his talent, but of the circumstances. It's a psychological strategy known as self-handicapping. He's creating his own obstacles to protect his core sense of self from the devastating blow of not being good enough. Procrastination can also be a shield against the discomfort of a daunting task. When a project feels overwhelming, our brain can interpret it as a threat, triggering a survival response that leads to avoidance. The temporary relief we get from watching one more YouTube video is a short-term mood fix. Your procrastination isn't a sign you don't want to succeed. It's a sign that the stakes feel incredibly high. Point 3. The gift of a short fuse. Anger as a guardian of boundaries. This one might be tough to swallow. What possible benefit could there be to having a short temper? We're taught that anger is a destructive, negative emotion to be suppressed. But at its core, anger is an emotion of last resort. It's a signal that a boundary has been crossed, a value has been violated, or a need is going unmet. Think about it evolutionarily. Anger mobilizes energy for a fight. It signals to others that a situation is serious and unacceptable. It's a powerful tool for self-preservation. Imagine Sarah in a team meeting. She's repeatedly interrupted, and her ideas are dismissed. For weeks, she says nothing, growing more and more resentful. One day, a colleague talks over her yet again, and she snaps. "Let me finish." The room goes quiet. It's uncomfortable, but a message has been sent. Her anger in that moment was a fierce protector of her right to be heard. Psychologically, this ties into the concept of assertiveness. For many people who struggle to set boundaries politely, anger becomes the only tool they have to say no. It's an unskilled expression of a very real and valid need. It's not the anger that's the problem, it's the lack of alternative strategies for communicating that need. When you feel that flash of anger, instead of judging it, ask it a question. What boundary is this trying to protect? What value is being threatened? Often, you'll find a legitimate grievance hiding beneath the heat. Your anger is not your enemy, it is your unsophisticated, loyal guard dog. Point 4. The hidden payoff, uncovering your secondary gain. So, we've seen that anxiety can drive preparation, procrastination can protect self-worth, and anger can guard boundaries. There's a fascinating psychological concept that ties all of this together: secondary gain. A secondary gain is the unconscious benefit you get from maintaining a problem or a behavior. The problem itself is real and causes genuine distress, but it also serves a hidden, positive function. Let's go back to our examples. Maria's anxiety, while stressful, earns her praise and a reputation for being reliable at work. That's a secondary gain. David's procrastination, while creating a last-minute panic, protects him from the potential pain of failure. That's a secondary gain. Sarah's outburst, while unprofessional, finally gets her the respect and listening ear she craved in meetings. That's a secondary gain. These gains are rarely conscious. We don't deliberately think, I'm going to stay anxious to be a better employee. Instead, our psyche learns that a certain behavior, even a painful one, helps us avoid a greater pain or fulfill a deeper need for safety, attention, control, or love. Recognizing these hidden payoffs is a crucial step in changing the pattern because it allows you to find healthier ways to meet those same underlying needs. You will not let go of a behavior until you find a better way to get what it's already giving you. So, what is the takeaway here? Is it to simply accept our flaws and let them run wild? No. The goal is not to justify destructive behavior, but to understand its origin with compassion. Your so-called flaws are not random bugs in your system. They are often outdated survival strategies that your mind adopted to protect you. They are clues, pointing to your deepest fears, your most profound needs, and your most vulnerable boundaries. The real work isn't about waging war on yourself. It's about becoming a psychological detective. It's about looking at your anxiety and asking, what are you trying to prepare me for? It's about looking at your procrastination and asking, what failure are you trying to protect me from? It's about looking at your anger and asking, what boundary have I failed to set? When you understand the function of a flaw, you can begin to negotiate with it. You can say, thank you for trying to protect me. I see what you're doing, but I'm an adult now, and I have new, healthier tools to get this job done. You can learn to prepare without panicking, to protect your self-worth without sabotaging your goals, and to set boundaries with calm conviction instead of explosive anger. These parts of you don't need to be eradicated. They need to be understood, updated, and integrated, because every part of you, even the parts you don't like, is ultimately on the same team, Team You. Do you recognize any of your own flaws in this? Tell me in the comments below which one resonated with you the most. And for more insights into the psychology of your everyday life, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, be curious and be kind to yourself.